Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Mindful Moment. This is Justin Epstein, author of the top selling book Super You and minister of the Unity Center of New York City. Good to see you out there, and I hope you're having a great day. I'm wanted to share with you something from a book that I first read at the age of 12. It is an adult book, but for some reason, being the analytical guy that I was, found myself reading it. Think it planted seeds for my spiritual journey, and in a minute you'll see another reason why. So I want to talk with you. I want to read you a passage from the Inner Game of Golf that really talks about. It's a very spiritual thing. When you hear it, you'll see exactly what I mean, and it'll help you to maybe concentrate more at what you're doing, because I've been talking about relaxed concentration and the importance of it, and it's really important to the spiritual path. So Galway talks about self one and self two. Just as a reminder, self one is like critical, judgmental thoughts. It's mental activity. How you doing, Claudette? Welcome. It's, you could say, the ego interference, judgmental, critical, tells you how you should be doing things, what you should have done. But who is it talking to? Well, that's what Galway calls self two. Self two is your potential. It's your body, it's your brain, it's your spirit, it's everything. And so with that in mind, let me read you this passage, which I find fascinating. It's called The Paradox of Losing Oneself in Action. For a long time, I was curious about descriptions of the state of relaxed concentration, like I was totally lost in the action. It just seemed to all come together at the right time. I seemed to disappear and something else took over. Or I was playing out of my mind. You ever heard people say those kinds of things? These descriptions sound as if a person is being taken over by some alien force. But as I started to experience relaxed concentration a little more, I began to reach the conclusion that this something else that was taking over was not alien at all, but was me. If anything was alien, it was the sensation that self one, remember we said the ego, was temporarily lost during total concentration. It sounded strange to hear myself say things like, I wasn't there and I never felt more at home. So who is lost when we lose ourselves in action? And who is found? For those who have followed the notion of self one and self two throughout this book, there's an easy explanation. Self one is lost, at least for a time, and self two is found. Relaxed concentration is the natural state of mind of self two. Consequently, self two is often more visible in the very young who have not yet developed their self one patterns of interference. Isn't that interesting? Children, before they've learned how to be judgmental and critical and all that stuff. For most adults, although it might seem easy when it is happening, a true state of relaxed concentration is usually not achieved without some degree of effort to focus attention and to prevent oneself from being swept away by self-one habits. Losing oneself in action. Find that interesting, to reach this level of relaxed concentration. Now, if you are biblical or you are familiar with the New Testament, what verse jumps out at you? That's right. Lose yourself to find yourself. That's something Jesus the Christ said. Lose yourself to find yourself. I remember many years ago when I was in college asking the Unity minister, Joyce Kramer in Virginia Beach, what did he mean? What self are you losing and what self are you finding? And here in a sports book, The Inner Game of Golf, well, I don't know if you could really say it's a sports book, he's giving an answer to that. You're losing self one interference, the ego. And the self you're finding is self two. That's why you hear people talking about it was effortless, it felt like I was playing out of my mind. Uh, it went better than I expected. And they have this sense of enjoyment in the process. Psychologists call it the flow state. And, spirituality, a lot of it is forgetting oneself, losing yourself in what you're doing by focusing, by concentrating the mind is one way. And that's what we've been talking about, relaxed concentration. So, let me throw out a woo-woo idea for you. And that is, in the yogi sages talk about, first you reach total realization of God in meditation. They call it samadhi, where you sense your oneness with all things and so on. But then the higher state is when you are in that state while you are acting, while you're doing stuff. Remember St. Paul, it is no longer I who lives, but Christ who lives in me. And Jesus said, it's not I who does the work, but the Father within who does the work. Seeing the connection here? Athletes are playing out of their mind by losing self-one interference in what they're doing. So one thing we can do is to really concentrate on what we're doing and see if we can't get so interested in what we're doing that we actually have moments of losing ourselves. And in losing our self-one, something greater is doing work through us. Isn't that fascinating? I love it. It's practical spirituality. So thanks for listening for this mindful moment. And I look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks for joining me for a mindful moment. Every week, we upload new videos of mindful moments to inspire and empower you on your spiritual journey. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel so that you can experience more mindful moments as they go live. Also, click on the list above and you will see other videos of mindful moments so that you can watch and join me for a mindful moment on your own time, anytime.